It's been less than 24 hours since the official announcement of the trade of Luka to the LA Lakers for Anthony Davis. And in this video, we're going to talk about whether is it right time to buy, sell, or hold, or either of these players. Welcome to the Cardboard Sports Podcast, where we talk about sports card finance, investing, and business. All right, so let's get to it. Before we dive into, the title of this video, was it to buy, sell, hold, let's talk a bit about Luka and AD in the first place. So I guess most of you guys know Luka is one of the hobby darlings for the sport. So aside from the big three of LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, and Steph, right, plus Steph, so that's four. I would consider Luka to be the top five in terms of what you want to collect for long term. Obviously, Luka being only 25 years old, came in the league in 2018. And he has already racked up a number of huge accolades, right? Rookie of the Year, NBA Finals appearance, 5 All-NBA, and his card prices are always in demand. Okay, yes, it did go with ups and downs, and during the pandemic, we were quite familiar with the base prisms going up to the high points of $2,000 for base prisms, but everything else was crazy back then. But today, his cards are still huge in demand. Okay, so with this trade, what do we see happening today as well as going forward? So obviously in the last 12 hours, I would say there was lots of activity with his cards. You can see some of what's happening on social media. Some of his base prism silvers are going up from 1250 to the highs of 1800. So already seeing increments of 20-30%. But of course, not all cards for Luka are going up. Definitely his highly desirable ones, the nicer ones, the autograph patches one, flawless, the bigger cards are all doing pretty well. Okay, so in general, I think that the trade or the news of the trade had a huge positive impact to his cards. But how does it impact you? Whether do you sell your cards? Do you buy more Luka cards? Or do you, if you have any cards, do you actually hold? So I'm going to share you my opinion. I feel that Luka, although this trade is huge, right, in terms of news, and if you're holding on to any cards right now, you're going to see some increments in terms of value for your cards. So the issue is whether do you want to hold it or do you want to sell it to pocket in those gains. So now the answer is it depends. If you're a Luka collector for the long term and you're holding on to some of his big cards, this gain that you see right now, no doubt it's a gain that translates back to your P&L. There is potential for future gains as well because, like I said, he's only 25 years old. He has a long career ahead of him, 10 more years at least, okay, which he could be racking up, his first championship or multiple championships perhaps, and he could be in the news for more time, many more times going forward. So there'll be many opportunities, I would say, for his card prices to go up from wherever starting point that it was. So where I think the price today, if he has any increments, right, if it's going up, let's say 20-30% today, it's obviously not going to hold. It's not going to stay at this price for, I would say, maybe 2-3 months, I think, or maybe throughout the season. I will foresee that the price of Luka's cards will come down a little bit from this, I would say, knee-jerk spike reaction due to this particular trade. So if I was holding on to any of his bigger cards today, and if I didn't want to pocket in any gains right now, it's kind of a safe hold in my opinion, so that maybe cash in at a later period where he does something bigger like win a championship or MVP as well. And I think that he will achieve one of those goals one day in future, especially in the Lakers uniform. So I would think that if you're holding on any cards, it's a hold. Okay, I would sell if you want to cash out to put your money into other things. There's no harm in that. The only thing I wouldn't do is I don't think I would buy. Okay, so I see lots of activities. People say, let's buy. Okay, of course, I see a lot of people, Dallas Mavericks diehard fans or Luka diehard fans, who don't want to see him in a Lakers uniform and just want to dump. And you see people saying that I'll buy, most definitely, right? If you can buy at yesterday's prices, sure thing, right? So maybe you could do an easy flip within the next 2 weeks and make some gains. But if you're buying at today's prices or the incremental prices today for a longer hold, the gains are not necessarily huge, in my opinion. I think that you're going to buy at a high point or at an increasing point, which are not the thing that I usually want to advocate doing. Okay, I'd rather put my money into other players that's have some potential to increase further in terms of percentage. Now, there's no doubt that the Luka card prices may go up in the future. I most definitely think it will, but you're locking in your prices or your cost base at a higher price today by buying at the incremental prices, which from a financial perspective is not what I would do if you want to try and maximize gains. Okay, so that's for Luka. Let's talk about AD now. AD, aside from the point when he was traded in 2019 from the Pelicans to LA, didn't really see a huge spike in terms of his card prices. Right? I remember doing that, and it's also due to the pandemic, where his Prism Silver's PSA 10s was going about like $350 back then in late 2019. Or maybe middle of 2019, and it rose up to the highs of $1,500, $1,800. I bought and sold a couple of those as well and made some nice gains. But since then, his card prices has come down. Even his best RPAs from Immaculate, from NT, are just trending normally. Now, with this trade moving from Lakers to Dallas, there is a lot of news that the Dallas team feels more complete with AD, feels more championship caliber. And when I look at it on paper, it does feel so. But again, from the hobby perspective, it's all about speculation. It's all about mindset and perception from the collector, from the hobbyist. From the game point of view, perhaps Dallas may do better with AD on the team instead of Luka. I'm crazy to say that, but on paper, it does look like a better fit. But from a hobby perspective, I don't really think that AD's cards or this trade will move the needle for AD's cards, to be honest. In fact, I think that his cards will continue to go on a declining trend as he ages. If Dallas doesn't win a championship this year or within the next 3 years, you see his cards fall further and further down the ladder. So I wouldn't be rushing out to buy any Anthony Davis cards at this juncture. I don't think anybody in the market is doing that. And if you are holding on to any Anthony Davis cards at the moment, if there's any opportunity to sell and make a profit, I probably would do that as well. Okay, but I wouldn't rush to fire sale any of my Anthony Davis cards at this moment, thinking that he's moving into a worse team from the Lakers to the Mavericks, because he's not. Definitely on paper, the Mavericks actually look a lot better with AD on a roster. So if you're holding on to any of these cards, I would think that it's a hold. Okay, and sell if you can, but I definitely again won't be buying into any of his cards due to his age and due to his I'd say declining play throughout based on his age. So that's my take basically, right? So this trade, no doubt, is huge. No doubt is creating a lot of ripples in the hobby. And to all the people who ask me this question, do I buy more Luka cards right now? Do I buy AD cards now? And the answer is I wouldn't do either one. If I'm having any, I'll sit on them. If I'm thinking of getting better gains in the long term, and if I want to cash out on some of them when I can, due to the prices being higher, I will do so. But for me personally, I do hold a number of Luka cards, some flawless RPA. I wouldn't be selling at this juncture. No doubt I see some price spikes right now for his flawless RPS, especially. I think that easily 30-40% increase. It's a nice gain in the pocket, okay? But Luka, along with LeBron, Kobe, Jordan, Steph, these are the players that I foresee, despite going into retirement at a later date, for LeBron and Steph's case, they will have exponential gains in the future, depending on what happens in the overall market. Not necessarily what's happening on the court, but what's happening in the hobby as a whole. And these 5 players will experience exponential gains. So it's always nice and it's always good, in my opinion, to hold some of the bigger cards for these 5 players, and that's exactly what I'm doing. All right, that's it for this news. I just wanted a quick update, share with you guys my thoughts. My phone's been off the charts, from friends and Facebook groups asking me, what do we do? What do I do? What do I buy? So this is a video that I'm going to share with you guys and give you my thoughts. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Do like, subscribe for this channel if you like more content on sports card related business, finance, and investing. Thanks for watching, guys. Couples out.